Might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't necessarily think that real estate, specifically homeownership where you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, is the best investment. Owning a home was never something I was eager to do to build wealth, but I will share some thoughts because I know this might be an unpopular opinion. If you're purchasing real estate with the intention for it to be an investment property and you are not the one paying the mortgage, then absolutely that's a different story. Regarding homeownership though, I find it nearly impossible to find a place for less than $500K in an area that I truly want to be in. I lived in San Francisco for 9 years and it never really made sense to buy a place in California. I also worked in tech, which I learned that you really can't get too comfortable, and I've been laid off 6 times. A lot of my friends talk about the concept of being house poor, and I hate that concept. I could never imagine being tied down or locked into a place and having to sustain that level of income just because I have a mortgage to pay. So instead of buying a home or investing into a mortgage or saving for a down payment, I started investing, and that was comfortable for me. When I got laid off 2 years ago, I was very thankful I didn't own a home because I had a lot of autonomy and I could spend 6 months in Asia, a few months in Europe. I could go to Chicago to be with family. I could go anywhere I wanted, and that freedom was incredible. What I've really learned is I like having flexibility, and owning a home would not grant me that same flexibility. Also with rent, I think about it maybe a bit differently than most people do, and I don't see it as a waste of money. I actually feel like with renting, I'm able to save money because I don't have to worry about maintenance and repairs, HOAs, taxes, all the things that come with homeownership. I don't have to worry about any of that. I also think rent feels like a fixed cost where homeownership does not. Like my rent is, let's say $3,000 every month. I know that that is the most I'm going to pay on rent every single month. But if I have a mortgage and I own a home, my mortgage will be the least I have to pay every single month because there's always something that comes up. There's always something to fix. Things could break, and I'm responsible for that. I also wanted to share this example because I don't think people understand how mortgages actually work. This is for an example of a house that's $450K. As you see, you're paying over $500,000 in interest and your total cost is over $870,000. You actually don't pay more of your principal until the end of your loan. Most of what you're paying for the first 3 years is your interest. In this example, renting is cheaper than buying for the first 12 years. I don't know where I'm going to be in 12 years, and I know I can always sell the place. I get that makes sense, but that is why I'm more interested in investment property, but the timing just doesn't feel right. And then in San Francisco, this was my situation. Renting is cheaper for the next 30 years. If you're on the fence or you relate to this a little bit, you can read The Homeownership Society Was a Mistake. It's in The Atlantic. I actually think I still have a video in my drafts talking about this article because it really just validated how I was feeling. At the end of the day, there are so many different decisions you can make, and you are always able to change your mind. I'm not trying to convince you to do one or the other. This is just my personal preference. I'm not against homeownership. It's something I've looked into very heavily, but timing just doesn't make sense for me. And honestly, I don't think it's the right time for a lot of people. So just make sure you don't get caught up in the pressure that is put on us. And as long as your money is working for you in other ways, I think that's perfectly okay.